Sayo Sayo Guego Kanenhariyo Gi. My name is Kanenhariyo. I'm what they call a Warchief for the Skarege Goa here on the Bay 20, commonly referred to as Tyendinaga Mohawk Territory. I've been given some updates recently about things that have been happening in the Mohawk Territory here, and I just wanted to give a little update. It won't be too long. We were supposed to have a meeting, Mohawk Nation Council meeting, like a people's meeting, and I invited the Mohawks from Six Nations, from Oswego, and our allied nations that are nearby, if they would attend. We had a few topics to discuss. The main three really being talking about traditional governance and how that functions and how that plays out today, and an update from the. Sorry, I haven't been sleeping very well, and so I'm a little tired. This might take 3, and I'm just gonna keep going, even though I yawned. I've been up late dealing with community members upset over drones flying all around in their houses and in their backyards at like low, and it's freaking people out, and lots of cars, unknown vehicles parking in people's properties and spying on people, and then when they're confronted, they won't say who they are or where they're from or why they're parked on someone's driveway or in their field, and they're have like binoculars and notebooks and stuff beside them on the seats, and then running away saying, "Oh, should I just fuck off?" And then when people are like, "Yeah," then they just rush off. There's that kind of stuff's happening here, terrorizing the community. This is all really, we believe, on account of the police bringing, like the local Tyendinaga OPP, bringing in other people, other police agencies to monitor and investigate and to like harass and terrorize the community. It definitely does not feel like a very the peaceful and safe place that it's always felt. And that's on account of this ongoing raids and investigation and an attempt to dismantle and to destroy the indigenous, like our own Ungwahuma-led cannabis industry that's been developing here for a long time. And this year they installed a new chief of police, and he's got some an agenda, I guess, to try to shut down economic independence, and so he's targeting the cannabis industry. His name's Christopher Brinklow, and maybe we can put a picture of him up after. I don't know. So him and a couple of cronies within the policing agency are definitely leading the charge and trying to stamp out and crush that sort of a thing, as well as completely and fully disrespect and disregard our traditional governance and traditional system in terms of political system, and extreme disrespect. Anyways, that's been going on here. There was supposed to be a meeting held. I called it for an emergency meeting so that people could come and get updated about what happened this week in the raids and the tens of millions of dollars of damage that was done to farms and to crops, and stolen equipment and property of people here. And so I had booked the council house, which is like the land and the building. It's not the original building, but the original building site of our council house where the Mohawk Nation Council resides. And I booked it for Sunday, and there were community members volunteered money and paid for the upstairs floor, the downstairs floor, and the kitchen, so that if there was so no matter what, we could handle however many people came, because there was no idea, and feed people, so on. So we wanted to have big enough space. And Saturday night, just before the meeting, about 9:30 at night, my mom. Actually, it wasn't my mom. It was another friend of mine reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you know the police are looking for you?" And I was like, "No, I don't know. I don't know anything about that." And he said, "Well, apparently they were at your house," they said, "and then they went to your mother's." My mom's 74 years old lady, and my 93 think he's 95-year-old grandfather is still alive. Went to their house, and lucky my brother was there, and they went to the door and asked to speak to me, and asked if I knew where I was, and said they had to talk to me about something. And then my mom was like, well, I don't know where he is, and then asked what they wanted to talk to me about, and they refused to respond. In fact, they just walked away from her. They acted as though they were like she wasn't asking questions. And then my brother pursued them, walked out with them, and asked again a number of times why they wanted to speak with me, and why they came to his mother's house, our mother's house, with weapons and body cams running, and in the middle of the night, like 9:30 at night, and it's dark now, real dark by 9:30, and just really inappropriate. They never responded to him. They just ignored him, acted as though he wasn't there, even when he was tapping on the glass of their windshield, on their car window, like saying, "Hey, like, talk to me. You come here to our land and our home," and they just drove away. And so they created a climate of fear for my family. My family was worried for my safety. And then people started calling around all over the place. Happened to be, I went for dinner, and I turned my phone off and just needed to have a meal and a little bit of rest for a minute, a little bit of peace for a second. And so I wasn't listening to my phone. And when I got back, finished dinner, I turned my phone back on, and sure enough, I see that there was messages, and everybody was checking in on me to see if I was okay, if I was safe, or where, or whatever. And so I called my cousin, and I said, "Hey, what's up?" And he said, "Hey, I'm just at your house, and just checking in, make sure you're okay. The police are looking for you, so on." I said, "What are they looking for me for?" And he was like, "I don't know, dude." And I said, "Okay." So I decided not to go home. I didn't know what they were up to, and I don't trust them. They've shown us over and over again that they're not about violence, and they are supportive of people who publicly call for murder in our community. They were involved in youth in the community being shot at, and they covered it up. And these are the kind of things. And we've had murders in our community that the police were actually a part of, and covered up to protect their liability and their interest. These are the sort of things that's been happening in our community for probably 20 or 30 years. And so this new movement and the kind of things they're doing is, instead of cleaning up their police force or the way they conduct themselves, or actually working towards reconciliation, they're doing the opposite of that. And so they've created a bit of a climate of fear here. Lots of people are on edge, and they don't know what's happening or what the police are actually doing. So raids occurred for a number of days, and then they stopped, but there's still police presence of outside agencies here, and there's drones and people getting stopped on the side of the road and questioned but not there being any traffic violation, those sort of things. I don't know anywhere where in a city or in a town somewhere, if you're just simply driving down the street, that a police officer would pull you over and ask you who you are and tell you that they pulled you over because there's suspicious cars around. I mean, that's not a thing. It just seems absurd. And so that's the sort of thing that's been going on. And so strangers are coming into our lands and into our community and pulling people over and asking them what they're doing on their own land. I've heard a number of stories like this. So on the Sunday morning, I got up, and I'm still nervous. I'm not sure what's going to happen and why the police are searching for me. And then I getting ready to leave, and I look at my phone, and I happened to notice that there was a voice message, and I checked it. And
Seth, this is Tyendinaga Police. Just want to inform you that Tyendinaga Mohawk Council has revoked the rental agreement that you have at the community center, dated September 28th, due to public safety concerns. You'll need to drop the keys off at the Tyendinaga Police Station at your earliest convenience. Thanks. Bye.
It was a voice on there saying that it was a certain officer. I think it was Trey Barty, and he was saying that how the elected band council had revoked my rental of the the community center, they called it. That's the council house. And that he said that they revoked it on the grounds of public safety. So I don't know if that means that there was a bomb threat against us, or a death threat, or if they intended on causing violence themselves or against us, or I don't really know. But whatever the case may be, that's what they said. And I was like, oh well. But I never got a call from the elected band council chief or the lady that rents out the housing and rents out the public spaces like that. That I got the key from, and all that sort of thing. So I was like, well, this may just be a ploy from the police themselves, because he asked me to bring the key to the police station as soon as I could. So this is like at whatever 7:30, 7:45 in the morning. I realized I have this message, so I decided to go to the meeting, because it's supposed to be coming soon, and people are already started to arrive over there, and we go over there, and we try to unlock the door to go into the meeting, to the community hall, which has been it's for everybody. It's supposed to be for everybody. Neutral. The Longhouse people use it. The Christians use it. Everybody uses that space, and it's kind of like it's understood as a neutral ground when there's going to be a meeting in the community that everybody's going to weigh in on. Even if band council's having a meeting, they host it there, not at the band office. Like that's the council house, and everybody knows that, and everyone has access to it. And even a few nights earlier, that was the meeting. That was this place where the meeting was held, where Sean Brandt and Terry Miracle, asked for a mandate to kill people in our community. We'll have 100 community members. That's literally what happened, and consequently, no charges I'm aware of were laid on either one of them for death threats or inciting violence or any of those sort of things. But that is what happened, and there's recordings of it. There was 100 witnesses, but nothing happened. And then, anyways, tried a key in the door, and none of the keys worked. And then we went to the other door, and none of the keys worked again. And so we decided we weren't going to be deterred. That whoever, for some reason, there was an attempt to disrupt the community, like people having a meeting and following our protocols within our Goa, the great law, our constitution, and that and try to stop the people from having an update to be informed with each other about what's been happening in the community, and also what people's thoughts are on this HCCC position on cannabis, when the Mohawk people were not included in the decision or in the discussion. It was just like made by who knows? We don't even know, because whoever published the so-called official word of the Confederacy didn't sign any name on it, so we don't even know who it was. So anyways, so we got disrupted from being able to do that, and so we decided, well, we'll have the meeting down at this area slightly behind the building, where there's a roof, and there was picnic tables, and it was a nice day, and that way then anybody traveling that didn't get the message maybe that we're relocating they'd still be able to find us. So that's what we did, and the meeting went really well, and there was quite a bit of people there that had attended that have never met each other or hadn't spoke to each other in a long time, or maybe they had some differences or whatever, and everyone come together, and they mended old fences and made apologies and respected one another, and for the most part, the entire meeting, it was conducted in accordance to our cultural practices, and people were respectful of that, and they didn't raise their voices, and they didn't get name calling one another or nothing like that. They were very respectful and kept task, and no one was judged. People were taken for their value and their voice and listened to, and even the people that non-native people that live with native partners and live in the community or were part of what's happening were given the opportunity to hear what was happening and even to speak a little bit, actually. So everyone was included, I guess, is what I was trying to get at, and that's about our laws. Our laws are about including people and inclusion and making room and making space for people to be able to feel safe and have protection underneath the branches of the great peace tree, the journalists de Goa. And so that happened, and it was really positive, and there were some outcomes that came of that. One of them being that there's going to be a meeting of each of the clans to come together and to make a response to the HCC Haudenosaunee Confederacy Chiefs Council out of Six Nations. A letter that they recently posted, and also to talk about this upcoming interlocutory injunction court date, and I believe that's going to happen this week, and then that will determine, if Canada's going to follow its own laws. It says that you can't seize they can't seize the property of an Indian on his land or her land, and that's what they did. And so they breached their own rules. They're not our laws. It's not our, it doesn't protect us, but it's the Canadian system and the Canadians' laws that they put into place to govern themselves and their interaction with other people. And so I pointed out to them, hey, you're breaking your own laws, let alone ours, let alone trespassing and all those sort of things, or international law. You're actually breaking your own laws, and so that's coming up, and hopefully that will stop this the level of pressure and the level of fear and oppression that we're facing. So at the meeting, it was brought up that someone had been passing by, and at 12:30 the night prior, so the Saturday night, there was three police cars present at the council house, and it looked to be that someone was busily working at the door. And so our assumption is that the police changed the locks on the building, or they brought somebody in to do so at midnight or whatever. I've yet to hear any explanation or call or anything from the band office or from the council or anybody. Yesterday I went in and dropped the keys off, and I asked the lady at the desk who was expecting the keys if she knew anything about why the keys didn't work, and that it seemed that the locks had been changed, and she didn't know anything about it at all, and was kind of surprised, and no envelope had been left for her to reimburse us for the payment. It was like $650 to rent the council house for a day for a cultural event. It's pretty crazy what they were doing. And you got to remember that the band office, the band council, that's actually it's a governing body that's an extension of the federal government. So it's the federal employees, federal government's decision-making body that's supposed to make decisions over spending of funding that's coming from the federal government, who's got control of our political buildings and properties, and charging the people to be able to use them. And in this case, not only charging the people to use them, then changing the lock so that we couldn't use it. So that's happened, and it's rather disheartening, and it's just further showing the division in the community, that we've got this loud minority who's terrorizing the people, and it's unclear as to whether or not it's the band council using the police, or whether it's the police using the band council. But it's something like that. And anyways, there's the update. It's longer than I wanted, but hopefully that helps out, and I'll try my best to keep everyone abreast as things move forward. I just want to tell people there's a lot of cannabis farms here, a lot, and some are small, some are big, but this issue is getting very little interest by mainstream media. Literally, these are the largest outdoor cannabis operations or farms in Canada in any history, I believe, and the raids, the theft and the destruction of these cannabis plant fields were unprecedented, larger than any other raids like them in the country, in the history of the country, and there's been silence about it. And so there's a whole bunch of trampling of Indigenous rights, or our Umgahumi rights, and our treaty rights, and our human rights. And it seems that this is designed to ensure that we're not able to build a stabilized economy off of a plant, off of a medicine plant, and that's an act of genocide when you try to attempt to force the people into poverty so that they're dependent on you. And so they're creating a scenario where it's extremely difficult to make a living and to take care of your family or pay your bills without having to get welfare or get a job at the band office, because they're destroying the other kinds of businesses that would be able to employ people. And so they're framing it around organized crime, but it's not really about that. The federal government, Ontario government wouldn't pay for organized crime to bring in hundreds of police officers. They don't do it for organized crime in Toronto or anywhere else in the country for that matter, to bring those kind of resources. It's because we're building a cannabis economy, and I suspect it's because didn't want it on the market when they're on their plants and their farms are also producing at the same time. And we've had an ongoing history of every time our people are successful in building economic opportunity, whether it was fishing and gill netting or seine netting or supplying the canneries with vegetables and farming or producing meat and dairy, every single time they've come over the last 100 years and made obstacles so that we couldn't do that, and they stopped us, or they would stop our counterparts and the Canadians from being able to buy from us, and then hemming us in where we can't sell out of the country either with anybody else. And so it is absolutely designed to keep us dependent and on the brink of starvation and poverty, so that they can control us. And so the police here, these so-called Indigenous police, the First Nations police, are just an extension of the provincial police, and they are absolutely carrying out the directives of the Ontario government and probably the federal government to stamp this out here. So there's my update. You'll hear more from me this week. Have a good day. Oh, one last thing. If you know people that live here in Tyendinaga, go visit them. This is the time. Go stay. Go come and spend a few days. Come spend a week. Come bring some food. Come check out, see what's going on. People are pretty quiet, and there's a lot of fear here. And I'm sure they would all appreciate people coming to visit and just say, hey, we love you, and we care about you, and we don't want to see nothing happen to you. Or maybe you come and stand in the way a little bit. And this could be bad. I'm going to be making a public statement and a request to Amnesty International and United Nations Rapporteur on Indigenous Rights and a number of other organizations. I think there's 10 of them seeking for legal observers. And if there's any legal observers who want to come here, it's beautiful right now, this time of year, and to investigate and to see what's happening and talk to the people here and their lived experience and living under a great deal of stress and fear, that'd be really good, because we need all the help we can get, and these people have come here with violence on their mind. Yeah.